So I've just been caught in a bit of a trap, and it's in a comment thread on TikTok. And I don't normally comment, and anyone that sees my content, you'll know I don't do comments. That's why I don't have any comments enabled on my videos lately. It's just I don't see the point. I'm not really a commenting person. I prefer to just create original content. But if you see anything through my YouTube, for instance, if we go on my YouTube channel, I'm not sure specifically where and what video, but I've been talking quite openly about this toxic men hating culture where women just keep targeting men all the time. It's almost because it's fashionable. People jump on trends in general in society. And I think personally, it's one of those where women know they'll get attention from other women. It causes debate, but it gets them. It's all about attention for the most part. There'll be people who are genuinely victims of guys that have treated them wrong. But there's also guys that are victims of women that have treated them wrong. So my argument is always it's a personality issue. It's not a gender bias. And that's why I get fed up when the content it focuses solely on one gender. Even if it was like men targeting women, for instance, and they just kept hammering at women, saying women, I'd get offended by that because I have a mother and I have a daughter. But at the moment, it seems to be very fashionable to keep targeting men in general. Now, I don't take it as a total disrespect to me in general. I'm strong enough. But I don't think it's fair to label people and discriminate because you do get kind people, you get insecure people, and again, either gender. It's just irrelevant. It really is. But I just get fed up with it. This targeting all the time. So again, content come up. I had no idea how young the girl is or how old they were. I just saw the content, and it's like if you're going to make content in the public domain, then you're going to have to be prepared for people to react. Because if you have men hating content, you get a lot of women going there all riled up like a anyway, I'm not going to say, but you know what I mean. They all just start like pumping each other up and validating, and it's like crap. And then a guy goes in and says anything, and I tell you what, they just get harassed like crazy. And it's this manipulated mind games. Now, unfortunately, I can't show the comment train because the person eventually blocked me. And it's annoying because this is what the video was. I literally just been through it about 20 minutes ago. And I thought, right, I'm going to do a video. I'm just going to talk on here because you don't get through to people. And because I've been blocked, so I show how I know I've been blocked because I went on my account on my desktop to go and deal with this because I thought I'm going to go through the comment train and we'll show how it's all unfolded. And then it didn't load. And I thought, well, how comes that didn't load then? And then all of a sudden I go on to a private, the thing where you don't have cookies and things, so it doesn't have your login, and now I can see the video. So you didn't like what I said, you tried to diminish me, and because I didn't give in, and then someone else come at me, and then I responded again, all of a sudden they blocked me, because they thought, oh, this isn't going anywhere, because it's not going in the direction they want it to go. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get my comment up, because if they block me, I'm assuming the comment would disappear then, the whole comment train would go. We will see if we can. So this is what it was. Again, I don't know someone's age. I'm just seeing a freaking video that says men you should avoid. And first of all, I'm thinking, okay, I get it. You've had issues with these sort of guys. I get it. If you've had issues with specific guys and these are the trends, I can understand that to a degree. So it says men who watch streamers. Well, I thought that's a bit much. I don't know why that is, but if you've got problems, maybe they've got addictions to that. You don't like them. I get it. Men who watch OnlyFans girls on Insta Reels. I get that. If you're if you're dating someone, they shouldn't be looking at other women. Okay. Men who have a private TikTok following list. I don't know what that is. I don't know how you have your private list. No, that should be private because you get scammers do this shit. If they know who you're following, they start to make fake accounts and then they'll follow you with that account. It becomes a whole thing. You end up getting scammed. Like you could follow any account and fake ones turn up. And then some people are susceptible to this. So, for instance, if I was to follow someone and it's someone prominent, all of a sudden a scammer account that's very similar would then follow you. So it's a whole this nonsense thing. So that's people's own. And then it says men who have and there's nothing there. Then men who, and then it's just men. And it's like, so what? You didn't need all that shit. As soon as I saw just the word men you should avoid men. I thought, what the fuck? Like, personally, I just thought this is out. It's all the time now in society. Like I said, it's become popular. And I'm sick and tired of it. And as soon as you talk on something, they try to diminish you. Like, I'm going to try and get the comment up, but I don't think it's going to exist. And even if it does, I've probably got a shitload of reactions at this point, and I can't even answer for myself. Yeah, my comments disappeared. Oh, this is annoying. So, unfortunately, I can't show my reaction to it. I can show what I said initially, which is here. So I put, so many women are deluded with their toxic hating of men. Therapy would be the first port of call before you hate everyone for existing. Because obviously, the thing with women is, in general, this is generalized. Again, we are stereotyping because they're stereotyping us. But at the same time, it's like, this is just an acknowledgement. And I think, before people get defensive, I think they'll understand there's truth to it. A lot of women actually don't get on well with women. Now, there are some that do, but there's usually this competition. You see, one of the biggest evidence of that is a lot of time women make their bridesmaids wear, obviously, dresses that are not as appealing as the wedding dress. Now, understandable, you want to be center of attention, but some brides go as far as to make their bridesmaids look hideous to really make them look incredibly pretty. So it's like a competition all the time. Rather than feel confident in yourself and like make people know you're the center of attention, they have to sort of like diminish someone else so they don't feel like competing against. That's a big example. That's a big example there. But there are a lot of women that just don't get on well with women. So my point there is, if you're going to sort of hate on one gender entirely and then try to gang up as women, the problem is women then start turning on each other anyway. So then that was my whole point really, is like, therapy would be the first point of call before you hate everyone for existing, because if you start on men, eventually you're going to go in, it's going to be infighting. And it's like, for what? Because it shouldn't even be a gender bias, a race bias, cultural bias, religious bias. It should just be personalities. It's that simple. I don't think I'm going to be able to get it up on my phone now. It's all disappeared, isn't it? It's all disappeared. That's pissed me off. Because I was going to react on video, because I thought I'm not going to go tit for tat on a comment train for freaking forever. It's boring and it's just ridiculous. It gets limited. I'll talk here. You can see my reaction. So one person that come in at the end says, rage bait. I can't remember what it is. They're trying to diminish my intelligence. I thought, you don't even know who I am. Like, that's ridiculous. And then one says, rage bait. You watch OnlyFans and all this shit, and I was like, I don't watch OnlyFans, and it's hardly rage bait when I'm composed, and I'm not angry, like I'm not raging. Like, what are you talking about? So that's what I thought. I thought you just they typecast and stereotype people to fit their agenda and narrative. It's so sad. So as soon as you come back at someone, they just immediately try to make you small. That's their way of reacting. So rather than have intelligent conversation and talk about the issues, they just immediately try to minimize you and make you small. The initial person tried to act like I wasn't intelligent. I could learn a thing from them. And I was like, well, anyone can learn from anyone. But I was like, you might want to watch my YouTube. You might want to watch my YouTube channel. Because I didn't realize they were younger than they are. And it's like, we haven't even had any worldly experience. So your opinion, until you've had world experience, you're not really going to have a lot of wisdom. So it's really important that you educate yourself and you continue learning, rather than make assumptions. So I think they obviously went and checked my YouTube channel, which I thought that's a good thing. But they noticed one of the videos, and it was one where I talked about like sexualization, really. And it was a topic that was a little bit uncomfortable for me, but it was something I felt important to talk about. Because I get fed up where people are told you can do this and you can't do that. I think people should have freedom within their lives. And recently someone spoke on that. There was a comment on TikTok. Again, I don't comment all the time, but it seems to be people get reactive when I do. And they made it, I don't know if they were being sarcastic or not. And I think they were, because I think they were trying to say to me, look, if that's okay, then so is hard drugs and all this stuff, because that's not an issue. And I was like, well, that's not the content of the video, to the context of the video I was reacting to. But in any event, it's not for us to determine and regulate other people's lives. It's up to people to decide for themselves, and then it's take accountability and then learn to heal and heal themselves. And it's part of their life journey. It's not for us to determine how they should live it. And that's my whole point. So when they referenced this this sexual content I did, this something about pornography, it was only just me talking on the topic. It wasn't me like saying this is right, this is wrong. I'm saying people should have the freedom to do what they want. And just because you've got an insecurity of your body or someone's treated you a certain way, that doesn't validate that other people should then minimize whatever they want in their life just because you can't handle it. It's like, you're just going to have to learn to ignore the fact that it exists if it bothers you that much. But it's not for you to regulate someone's life just based on how you're feeling today. People have the freedom to decide their own choices, and they're watching consume content in whatever way they choose for their own reasons, and keep trying to make people feel small and ridicule them. because you don't enjoy it or you don't agree with it, that's really irrelevant and something to work on. So that was my whole point. So when they said about the fact that I'd created that content, I said, you've just took a headline and you've just made assumptions based on a headline. And yet you're telling me I should learn from you, like you're intelligent, but you're not even taking the time to consume content to actually learn from it. You're taking a headline and getting in, making like wild accusations about it without understanding the substance. Like, and this is how I was reacting to him. And then the other one come in saying, "Oh, you rage baiting. He's took the bait. He's and it's like you'll clearly watch all this and you do that." And I thought, you don't know me at all. Like this is ridiculous. It's like I'm just, and now they've obviously blocked me because they don't want intelligent people to come at them. They want people who they can silence immediately. And as soon as it becomes a tree of comments, all of a sudden it's like, "Now put a stop to that. We'll put a stop." They didn't want to go there because they obviously I can't say 100% why they did that, but it's quite obvious that I'm not someone who's dim. I do talk on difficult topics, and as you can see through all my YouTube channel and everything I've done, I'm not weak-minded at all. I'm very strong-willed, and I will talk on topics that some people might find offensive and things. But I find that really interesting that you can have people that hate entire genders, but yet, as soon as you speak up, they silence you, and it's like that. How is that going to build anything? How could you possibly grow beyond a circumstance when all you're going to do is constantly silence people? And that's why I do these videos in reaction to when I do a comment and then I post it, because I'm not a commenty person, like I say, but I try to show everything I do. So if I've done a comment somewhere, I'm gonna try my best to show that. Bit of shame I didn't screenshot all of the train before they got blocked. But it's showing people that, and it's like they can't remove my screenshot, if you know what I mean. So yeah, they can silence me in one way. I don't want to keep commenting anyway because it's once you've said a couple of things, for me that's the end of the conversation if it's not going anywhere. So for instance, if I'm going to give an articulated response that I consider intelligent and I consider broad and fair, and people are just going to come at me in hurtful ways, like try just to be spiteful, and it's not really adding any substance to the conversation, then I was going to walk away anyway. So I don't care. Some people have to have they have the last word and they think they won an argument. And I think if you look at the context of the argument, you'll see who won the argument. It's like sometimes you just end up walking away anyway. It's like, this isn't worth my time. So, for instance, me doing this video was me just going to be wrapping it up and talking in general about the topic at hand and how people are reacting and then this and this. But I wasn't going to keep reacting to them because I'd already said what I had to say. But I just find it absolutely mental that as soon as you speak up on a topic where people are being targeted and then you get silenced, it's like, how is that fair and how does that make sense? Because people want to be the victims in life and they don't want to hear that. I'm not saying people haven't suffered, but a lot of the time, people want to be martyrs. I talk about a lot, especially with the cancel culture and everything else about that. It's like that's what people do. They marginalize people and then they start to try to make them unhinged, and they fit a narrative that just isn't even true. So they'll take headlines and then try to fit a story around the headline rather than listen to the content. And I'm always someone that's like, I go deeper than that. So the thing is, if someone was to, let's say someone says, you said this, you said that, look at the content. And then most people might gloss over it and look at the titles and go, yeah. But then one person might go and investigate and they'll realize, wait a minute, they talk on they're actually fair. They actually talk on this topic and they'll talk on that topic. It's just if they see an issue, they'll talk on it. And that's literally what I did on that one. So it wasn't about the person specifically. So I'm not trying to sort of like this and that. This is more of a wide. If that was just one person, I would just walk away. I would just walk on. I wouldn't care. I just go, oh, God. Some people you can't. The head's out their ass. But when you're seeing it time and time again of discriminations, I talk on it. And it's even the ones where I've been speaking about, like even with where you call them illegal immigrants. I don't like the term illegal immigrants. Why is someone illegal? That's not a popular conversation to talk about. It's far easier to talk on the side of being oppressive. But I'm not like that. So if I see some discrimination in society, I'll talk about it, even if it's not popular to talk about it on that side of things. So it was easy. It's a lot easier for when someone starts going on a hate spree. It's a lot easier to jump on the hate bandwagon because that's popular. So everybody just pats themselves on the back. They all start following each other, and you're growing together. But as soon as someone comes in and says, "Hey, this ain't right," people get offended, and then you start getting targeted. And then it's like they try to dim you and silence you. because it doesn't fit the message they want to send out. But they don't want to have an intelligent, deep conversation about it. They just think they're educating you, but how did you educate me? You didn't even make a valid argument. All you said is, like one of them said they didn't like the fact that I did there was a content I did and it was about pornography, but it was actually just talking about sexual situations in general, raising awareness of. And because they'd seen the headline, they just made a whole assumption about me. And then the next person come in and says, because you had a strong opinion, they just made an assumption based on the fact that the list was like 1 to 6, and one of them was an OnlyFans thing. So they jumped on the fact that, oh, only because you watch OnlyFans, you rage bait, blah, blah. It's like, no, it wasn't. It was number 6 where you just wrote men. Stay away from these types of men. And number 6 was men. So it didn't matter about all the other things. The thing that mattered was the fact that just stay away from men in general. The real problem is that this, and I've talked about it all the time, this division in society, it's so toxic because what's happening is the more men see women hating on an entire gender, men are starting to distrust women. So women are going to get lonely. They're going to want attention because they are. It's a natural thing. People get attracted to people. You want relationships. You want intimacy. But if you feel you can't trust someone, then you're not going to proceed with it. Well, a lot of people won't. So you're going to find this issue in society is that you might be a nice person, but people have been tainted so much that they've seen so much, this resentment where they don't trust them anymore. So they won't jump into that relationship and they won't have that commitment. And you'll see a lot of segregation in society where people are living alone. Anyway, that's my take on the situation. But of course, anyone that shares whatever the person said or talking about, they'll have a different opinion of me. But it's like, based on what? Based on a few comments where I'm just answering back in what I would consider an intelligent function. It wasn't spiteful. I don't feel I was spiteful within the comments. I felt I was controlled. I don't think I was emotional. So, fit a narrative around that. It's like, it is what it is. I'm just sick and tired of this men-hating culture. And I got reactive to that comment specifically because it had the men bit at the bottom and it was about that. But it's not just that. Since I did my last video, I've seen so much content hating on men. And there's been a few times when I thought, I can't. I'm not doing more content on this shit. I've had enough. I've had enough of taking the bait, if you like, in terms of the content on it. I'm just thinking, I'm just leaving these people to their own little deluded world. They're going to have therapy one day because they're going to have to process where the hurt comes from. But it's going to get because the problem is if you don't heal it, you're going to go for a point where you just hate men so much. And like I said, people go on popularity contests. So let's say you start gaining attention on social media because you hate a certain gender. That now becomes your brand. So then even if you start thinking, I want a relationship, I can't because my brand. So that becomes a problem, doesn't it? Because now all of a sudden you have to sit behind what it is you've been talking about. And that really isn't healthy. So this is something people need to heal. So that was my issue with it, really. So, and like I said, I'm just seeing it far too often. And I think the comment sections in general just validate it anyway. If you just see this one, just briefly, see this one where it says heavy on 6. So this was the comment section in regard to the video where 6 was men. So avoid these men. 6 was just men. So that just means avoid all men. And that's what that one said, heavy on 6. It's like, it's just ridiculous at this point. I think it's sad. I just think people need to grow up, mature, and start to see people for who they are. And again, not discriminate based on gender, based on race, based on religion, like culture, geography, any metric that you can discriminate, don't. It's as simple as that. And I'm just thinking, this is ridiculous, But I always know that's going to happen. It's like people just encircle people, so you become the target of their retribution. And it's like, for what? Because I had an opinion that went against your opinion and you weren't mature enough to handle a conversation. If you can't handle the conversation, don't create the content. So, yeah. I'm not anti-genders. I'm anti-personalities, like people. So if you're not a nice person, then it's just because I don't like you as a person. It's not like it's nothing to do with any metric that you might hide behind, because that's what people do. If you are a specific demographic, in whatever capacity that is, people will naturally, as soon as they're targeted or spoken on, they'll naturally hide behind that and act like it's because of that reason. It's like, no, it's not. It's because you're just not a nice person. If you want to be horrible to people, you're going to get reactions, aren't you? So, that was just me speaking up on a topic. But anyway, that's my little moment there talking about it. I would have gone further. It'd been a far longer video if I had my freaking comment train to deal with, because now I can only do it off memory. And like I said, there was only a couple of bits there. It would have helped a lot more with the actual tit for tat. Because, like you say, I wasn't spiteful in the comments. I was just informative. And that's where I thought, you know what, go and check my YouTube channel out, because she's trying to tell me I could learn from her, but yet she's not saying anything of intelligence and significance that I could learn from. And her arguments were weak. So it was like, what am I going to learn from this? The fact that you hate men and you're validating how? You haven't even shown her how. You're just trying to minimize me, which made no sense. That wasn't articulated very well, and it were intelligent rebuttals. So you maybe go and check my YouTube channel out, and you might learn something. Yeah, that's what that was about anyway. So yeah, this discrimination shit just needs to stop on every area of life.